Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, here to talk to Libra natives about the new moon on July 20th, 2020. And it's a really interesting new moon energy. Of course, it is up there in your 10th house. That is your house of career and reputation. It is sitting there at late degrees of Cancer, and so this energy feels like it's both a new beginning and an ending. So there's a lot of transition going on, and maybe it's something that you're wanting to transition into. Maybe you are in the process of changing jobs. Maybe you're just looking at your job and saying to yourself, ugh, I need a change. Well, interestingly enough, this particular new moon is exactly opposite the Saturn. You can see it down there in the 4th house, and that is at the same degree. And so that exact opposition means that there's an obstacle in your path. That obstacle, that boulder, that mountain you have to climb could feel like some authority figure telling you you can't do something. Because it's in the 4th house, could be a parent, could be tradition from part of the family, could be a family pattern or things like that, but it could be anybody that you have set up as an authority in your life. Now, what are you supposed to do? Well, you are supposed to climb the mountain or go around the obstacle. You're not supposed to let this stop you, because Saturn's going to be somewhere. The obstacle or the thing in your path is going to be somewhere. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's at the end of a project, but this time it happens to be at the very, very beginning. And so how are you going to get past this? Well, first you need to recognize whether this person who you think is an authority is somebody that you decided was your authority, or do they really have some authority over your life? And more importantly, if this is part of a family pattern, is this a good family pattern, or is this one that has actually been plaguing your family and needs to be dealt with? Are you going to be the first one to show everyone how to break the family pattern? Because that would be fantastic. Now, this also does indicate that through reaching out to your ancestors, maybe through prayer or meditation or past life regression or something like that, you can pull in a lot of power and expertise and abilities just from your either spiritual family or your genetic family, and that can come in not so much maybe to be an obstacle, but perhaps you look at it and say, wow, those are some big shoes to fill. So, but you can stand on the shoulders of these giants and see farther. And so that's a great way to use the Saturn. But also you want to look and just think about if it's just you that's in the way. Are you just afraid? If you are thinking, well, you know, I can't go be a success because my family doesn't like what I do for a living, or because I need to be home with my family, or things like that. Is that what's stopping you? Which is, you know, those things, those reasons, they can sound very important and they can be very real, absolutely, but they can also be reasons or even excuses for not moving forward. Now, with this, of course, we have Mars in Aries. This is that action point where you're going to take action, and it's in your 7th house, which says contacting others. The more people you reach out to, the more people you connect with, the better you're going to do during this period. But the problem is that Mars is at 12 degrees of Aries, not making an aspect to the Sun, Moon, or the Saturn. And so what can happen is that you may be moving along and have an obstacle in your path, but then the action that you take is unrelated to the obstacle. In other words, it can be where you say, okay, I'm going to go to cooking school sometime, you know, when things open up again. And so what do? You take action to just hang out with your friends and just, you know, watch TV. And so the action is not related to your goal. And so this is where this Mars needs to have very focused attention, so that you then actually, instead of watching TV with your friends, that you actually look up, is there any online cooking schools you can do? Can you get some online tutoring? Can you, take your kitchen as it is and start your YouTube channel from there? You know, what can you do that's action oriented, that is actually in line with your goals? When it comes to home and family, we've already talked a lot about that, but something to be aware of is you're not actually doing an aspect this month. And what that means is you might be a little out of sync with your family. And so because we don't see an aspect between the Venus and the Saturn, it can cause you to maybe not connect really and hear them clearly. Maybe they're not hearing you clearly. Maybe you are far away from them. Maybe they don't, maybe they're extended family that you're dealing with, but it feels like it's a little out of sync. And that, of course, that energy is going to change. But right now it means that that's actually not necessarily where your attention needs to be. So it's not so much right now about helping or interacting or getting a family member to agree with your position, but more you looking privately at what the family patterns are and making the changes yourself. So this is that your family may be there and you might be interacting with them, but right now the energy is not lined up so that you can have a lot of change happen in that area. So again, like you might be thinking of moving, but you're just thinking about it. You might be unpacking from a previous move and you're just going through the motions. And so the same thing here, when you're interacting with your family, don't expect huge breakthroughs or changes. These breakthroughs and changes come from within you. Now, when we look at your career, you have some really positive energy for your career right now. So that's where I think your focus really should be. You have Mercury, Sun, Moon up there, and the ruler of your sign is actually making a semi-square to that moon, which means that your sensitivity about things is heightened. You have an awareness of which direction to go, who to speak to, who to avoid speaking to, because maybe they're not having a good day, and so forth. So if your senses are that your industry isn't doing good or your company's not doing good, this is a time for you to start looking around for perhaps a new job. Or you may actually sense the time to actually speak to your manager about getting more hours or actually getting a better position. So this is about you noticing when the universe is giving you signs to move you forward, or if the universe is bombarding you with obstacles, one obstacle after another, then it is time to look at how you can go around those obstacles in a creative fashion. So it is not the universe telling you just to stop and hold, but to look for different options for yourself. Now, when we look at your love life, we have a really good aspect. The Venus is making a sextile to the Mars. It is a sextile, which means that you do need to take some action to activate this positive energy, but when you do, good things happen. So this means if you're looking for love, if you're going out and doing online dating, if you are in a love relationship and you want to move it forward, good things can happen when you initiate the action. So you may be talking about how you do want to maybe live together at some point or get married, where you are reaching out to someone and saying, I like your profile, let's have a conversation, maybe let's have a virtual coffee date or something like that. You're doing the sextile, so there is opportunities. So when we look at your money, it is pulling money from your fourth house. That is interesting because that goes back to home and family. So you might be looking at maybe renting out your house again, or you're doing some sort of real estate. It is also possible you're working at home and so money is coming from there. But also of course, anything that's home related. So construction, appraisal, interior design, all of those things can help make you money this time. It's co-ruler is in the 7th house. The more people you know, the more money you make. So that's a really good aspect. That aspect's going to last for the rest of the year. So again, as long as you keep expanding your circle of friends, you're going to make more money. So that's wonderful. So when we look at your money coming from your business or from passive income sources like investments or affiliate marketing or things like that, you have the Uranus there. We've talked numerous times about the Uranus being there, and it's going to be there for months and months and months. So let's just talk about the sextile that's going on between the ruler of the second and the co-ruler of the co-ruler of the second and the ruler of the 8th house, which is the Venus and Mars. And so what this means is there are opportunities for you. Yes, we would love it to be a direct connection to the ruler. So using that co-ruler and then using the lighter aspect of the sextile does mean you need to initiate the action, but there are some opportunities for you to bring in a little more business income, a little bit more passive income, etc., by looking at and concentrating on the different aspects that you have. So that might be, meditating on your brokerage statements, maybe calling up your broker and saying, hey, what's going on? What do you see we should be doing? When it comes to your business, of course, with the Mars in the 7th house, you definitely want to reach out to potential clients or customers, or you want to talk to your friends and say, hey, you're knowledgeable about social media. What should I be doing? Or what do you think of my posts? Or things like that. When it comes to money derived from career, it is very strong. The sun is making an exact, well, it's not making an exact opposition, but it's making an opposition to that Pluto, which does mean that money derived from career is much stronger this month. And that means that you could be making more money than previous months or more money than your average month. That means you also have opportunities to make more money, through maybe changing jobs, maybe through commissions or a bonus or something like that. Maybe you get more hours, maybe you have a second job. So you do show more money. Now, when it comes to windfalls and unexpected money, you are a little bit out of sync. There is no aspect right now between the Uranus and the Pluto, but when we look at the co-ruler, then we have a semi-sextile with that Mars. That means that you do have some opportunities, but there's some sort of hesitation or irritation that is connected to this. That is maybe something you don't normally like to do, or maybe it's something you feel a little pushed into, it's planting a seed, but you're not very confident about the seed, but then something can sprout from the seed and be quite exciting. So this might be you reaching out to an influencer with no possible hope that they are going to text you back, and then they do. Or that you, in passing, say, oh, I really like your motorcycle. And then the person says, oh, I'm thinking about selling it. And, I'm going to give you a great price or something like that. So it is just one of those things in passing, but it's something outside your norm. You don't often do this. So when you break your routine a little bit, that's when the opportunities are going to come in. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. There's some little footage of LaRue. And if you like videos like this, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.